Right, let's take a look at these markets and get to grips with where we are. So I'm going to start off with the Nasdaq. What happens in the Nasdaq tends to affect the rest of the market. Actually, we're just seeing a significant drop. Okay. Yeah, just in time for the breakdown. Yeah, it was sitting up very nicely intraday, but yeah, they just decided to yank it down. I'm guessing the rest of the indices are going to follow. I mean, it's not dropping off hard. It's just not happy at these heights. So this week we have Bank of England interest rate decision and monthly US jobs. So it's an important week. So we've had since we've had this low on the 16th of June, dips in this daily chart have been bought, and last week was no exception. We started kicking off, it's been a good earnings period, and this to 12,200 was the 2021 low, and once we closed on Tuesday, this started to pick up after the cash market closed on Tuesday. And so we are due a bit of a drop here after three decent days in the second half of last week. So if this Nasdaq comes down and holds 500-600 area, then I think we can make another sweep up. But if we close back on the 12,200, then that spells a lot of problems for this market. Yeah, if we come back on the 12,200, then we're going to potentially come back to these lows and more. I think we can get another leg up, absolute minimum. I'd be surprised if we don't get into 15,000. Of course, it has been an incredibly bearish market, so we've got for the markets to push up through to 15,000. That's going to need a big shove, and there could be various pullbacks in between. All right, it is an extreme case. We could do a complete V-shaped reversal. So this goes for all the indices, but here we are, sort of legging it down. If this can build and pullbacks continue to get bought, we could maybe even end up back up at 16,750. That's a big ask, but no, we've seen some huge pushes higher. If the Fed have begun to get somewhat dovish after this tip in the market, surprise, surprise. We've got midterm elections coming up in the US as well, so I'm expecting a lot of volatility. If we do manage to get up here and subsequently start closing outside of this grey zone, so we come into the grey zone and close back out again, that could see us tumble. So, but overall, if we find ourselves holding up when we get out of the autumn period and into early winter, then we could potentially get up to those highs again. So having said that, let's have a quick look at the Dow. So the Dow's actually sitting up a little better at the moment. So we got the drop zone here from the 8th of June. So if all we end up doing is crashing into that resistance and then closing lower, then obviously we're going to come see these lows. But I think with the dovish words of wisdom from the Fed, continued volume, and a tailwind into non-farm payroll, I think we can get at least higher from here. Right, let's have a look at the dollar. That is coming off, so you can see, let me just close my windows, a helicopter just passing on. Sorry about that. And so I'm looking for this euro to. I posted this last week, the second half of last week, and you can see the euro is already creeping up and closing outside of this pattern, this apex. So I'm looking for 104.60, 105 to see if that can push up into there. Now, if you get a strong euro, that normally benefits commodities, and it normally benefits the US markets. Can do some harm to the DAX, German DAX, because that would give reduce export prices in the US and increase import prices, etc., etc. All right, so let's have a look at gold. Let's start moving across these markets quickly. So gold is coming right into this 2021 resistance zone. At the moment, we look as if we could push higher. I would have thought we're still in wave 3 of this at the moment. But if we close under this 1770, I would have thought we'd at least peel back to 1730, 40 area. Otherwise, we could just potentially keep going and start to recover through 18 to 1850 plus. If I peel back on this, this is looking like the nice kind of dip that we got back here in August last year. That saw that penetrate 1840 before pulling back. So we could see a repeat of this August to September pattern here. If that's the case, then ultimately this pattern released the gold into 2070. So that we could end up seeing 2150 plus if this recovery is sustainable and we start closing above these resistance areas, particularly 1850. Silver, I'll start to move on quickly now. Silver is obviously picking up to next stop 2136. Any pullbacks to 19.5, 20 are potentially viable. So let's stay on commodities for a little bit longer and then we'll go straight into stocks. Got a lot to get through. The wheat is pulling back. That suits me fine. I would happily buy wheat if that were to drop into the $7, $7.30 area. I think this weakness is viable, and I hold wheat, and I can look to add to the wheat. I need this to close over $8.50. Can it do it in the next few days? Who knows? I will keep an eye on that. In the meantime, the corn has gapped up, and that's holding up. And that is now. So we gapped up from $5.80. We've seen $6.30, and we're pulling back. So any gap fill at $5.80 is viable in my book. And ultimately, I'm looking to get back up to these $8 plus. Natural gas is pulling back at the moment. It looks to me as if $7.30 could potentially be the key buy area. Natural gas in a normal cycle, obviously this is not a normal cycle because of the war. In a normal cycle, this will pull back into July, August, and then get bought as we get the big contracts signed up for the big utilities for the winter period. Okay, let's have a look at high-grade copper, then we'll move on. High-grade copper has taken a big hit, but is attempting to push up. If we hold 34.5, 34, I think we can at least get to 37 plus. Right, stocks. Banks are doing well in this environment, so let's go through the banks. Lloyd's. I think any pullback to 42.5, 43 is viable to see if we can get back to 51 plus. Ultimately, I think if all goes well, we could see 60 in the back end of the year. if at some stage we go under 43, then that we are going to look lower. I'm in Barclays still. Barclays is attempting to recover, so we may see 150 here with Bank of England this week. So any dips into 150 are potentially buyable. The stop under 145. If we look at let's look at Standard Chartered. Support underneath there, that's been as high as 643. This one tends to favor a high dollar. Excuse me 1 second. HSB reported today, right? I'm just going to click on and have a look at them, right? Whoa. So HSBC is buyable at 525. Significant close higher. Let's hope Barclays does the same. When Barclays reported last week, didn't they? I should know that, shouldn't I? Yeah. So let's look at a few other financials. Prudential. I did a report on this in the press a little while ago. That is, I do like Prudential. I think that the newer business model with their better diversification is potentially a winner. So any pullbacks into 970, I think, are still buyable. The jury's out because the volumes are not great. I mean, it's a heck of a sideways move. I'm just interested in what happened in late June. So I still think any dips down here are viable, but with the potential to get up to 1145 plus. But if we get under 950, then that is out. Not very good results, right? Okay. Oh, they had an issue in the US, didn't they? Or an issue with broking, didn't they? Moving sideways in the financial world, HA Bell's been on a great run. You can see how this 240, 260 got bought. That's now into resistance. So any pullback to 290 is potentially good on HA Bell. Ashmore. That's a lot of volumes coming here, so that's potentially a good recovery stock on Ashmore. What else have I got? Legal and General. So a lot of these financials are picking up and moving. These are this is more on the investment side now, isn't it? So these volume is better. We're closing higher. We're holding up. These all look good for a bigger move. Right, it's moving swiftly on because I want to cover a lot of UK stock. UK IT sector, SEE. Wow. The more progressive growth tech stocks are still not great, and this is one of them. These have technology for truckers. Money Supermarket's been on a good run. So a pullback to 195, I think that was on results, wasn't it? That pushed higher on results. You might see 188, but if that comes back to 188 and holds, I think that is a potential good trade. Avast, potentially trying to reverse. If that closes above 480, I think that is a recovery stock. It has, you need to be careful about this one. This is, it's a good stock. They own the AVG brand. So I would still be, I am interested in this if we can come out of this and close above 480. So that's on a watch list. That's not a confirmed reversal to me. That is still short. Zoo. Wow, that's gone to the races. It's a very thin, I think this is a thin AIM stock, so I won't talk about that any further. Have a look at that if you're interested. Right, let's look at, very quick look at housing. Persimmon. I just don't like this sector. That is coming up on very feeble volume, so that risks going back under. Barratt Development, it's recovered into resistance. That's enough for housing. I'm not in it anyway. Right, energy, Tullow. Oil is in the phase of, I haven't looked at oil, have we? I think that could still pull back to 45, at which point I would be a buyer of Tullow if that held. Let's look at BP. That looks good. I would like to see that peel back into, yeah, we talked about this before, didn't we? I was hoping this was going to peel back to 350. All the time we sit, I'm not in this. I'm still going to look to see if that can peel back to 350 and peel back into that support. I think there is still time. The normal cycle of oil normally sees oil drift lower in these kinds of months. Shell, same thing. It's sitting up well, volumes are holding up, but we're not closing outside of the 5th of July. So I would sit back and wait, let that come to me. Let's look at oil services. It's had a good run into 115. This is Petrofac. I'm back in this. Any pullbacks into 105, 108 are buyable, but if we start closing underneath the power mark, then it may not happen. But I'm looking for this to go back up to the highs and beyond. Let's look at this US services as well. FLR, seeing as Cecil is in the room. Cecil and I have been talking about this one, and I think this is a good stock. The volumes have been tailing off since this bounce. I've been suggesting that you wait until this tries to retest 24, and then if 24 holds by with a stop under 2150. Could it peel back lower? Yes. I would love to much rather buy that at 23 and not. So if we're going to have a bad hair day and it dips to 23, then that is viable. Right. Flicking across to, what am I going to look at next? I'm going to look at basic materials. I like this Elementis chemicals company. This has really started to move out. I don't think it's not got volume, has it? Wow. Volumes have improved, but it's a very low volume stock. I am in this, but I would like to buy more. if this dips around the £99 mark and holds, it may not go and see that. 105, 106 maybe all you're going to get. But I am hoping that that can push higher. EMG, Man Group, has been on a big run. 240 is the target on that for an entry. It's way too high to get in. If that closes back above 270, that could so easily carry on. TPI cap, that's made a decent move. I think any pullback into 110 is viable. Rio, that looks as if that's got support. For 47.90 is the entry if you're interested. Glencore, that's already looking like that could pick right up. If you see 430, volumes are coming in. This is a big tough spot for Rio. That's over Glencore. Things like gem diamonds. Yeah, I like this. This is a big area for gem diamonds. We've seen 73, 74 not so long ago. I think it's a good pullback. Volume is beginning to pick up. Okay, thanks, Yonka. Moving across, let's look at retail, and then we'll go across to US. So we've got Tesco grinding higher. I think I would hold out for 245, 250 if not in that. I'm not a big fan of retail anyway. I'm not in this. Sainsbury's. Similar pattern. ASOS. It's attempted a bounce. I have to say, short term, that looks lower. And the volumes have improved recently. If you're looking for a recovery stock in the retail sector, this might be the one to look out for. But I would buy 10 and get out if it gets under 9. And Boo that's had a decent bounce. I can see that peeling back to 60. I think that's worth a shot. I mean, that's a decent bounce there. If you're into recovery stocks in retail, then that's your one. Card Factory. And this is I like bear rating this one, so I'm waiting for this to pick up. I'd love this to get back to 70, 65, 70, at which point I've shorted this a couple of times in the last 12, 18 months. I'm looking to short this again, but I'm not going to jump in anytime soon. Shoe Factory, I shorted this and actually got stocked out. I've had a lot of success with Car Factory, so I'm just giving some profits back on that one. I'm still going to stalk this to sell, but I took a small loss. I'm backing off. I would love to short that, but of course I'm not doing that anytime soon. WH Smiths, big box play. Again, I don't like it. I'm not in it, but that does appear to be looking as if that wants to go higher. Moving across to ABF, very similar pattern. It's had a good bounce. This is Primark, moving some trading online, hence the bounce. I like this stock. If I was going to buy any retailer, this would be one that I would seriously consider. So any pullback to 1635 with a stop underneath this 1525, I think is a goer. Moving across to airlines, EasyJet. I think that could recover to 450. At which point, if I was going to do anything with it, I would short it. IAG, British Airways, volumes are rubbish, very narrow range, the highs are selling. I'm not touching it. Right. So we've looked at housing, energy. Let's look at healthcare before moving across to the US. Glaxo. Yeah, we had this strange anomaly when this dropped out of the sky, which I've not researched. I like the stock, I like the sector. If we come back to 1670 and hold, I would consider that. AstraZeneca, same story. Pull back to 103, £10.30, I would consider that. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, so AstraZeneca on a pullback. Bristol Myers, I like this stock a lot. I think that is buyable at 74 with a stop underneath that support. Medtronic, this is the US now. Again, I like this. The volume's kicking in. Great sector to be involved in. Also, this sector does tend to pick up this time of year. So healthcare and particularly biotechs are generally very good this time of year. They have a conference circuit in the autumn, which tends to G up the whole market. So the general cycle of healthcare and pharmaceuticals suits this time of year. I think they're good defensive stocks as well. So all of these stocks I like. Right, let's talk about some US stocks now. Now, even if you are in Europe, there is no reason why you should not. I just want to go through a couple of other UK ones. Rolls-Royce, attempting to hold this 90. Vodafone, let's pull back to support 118. It's trying to hold. I think this is a great support area. So I think that 50% is going to hold. So I'm in this. So I'm just sitting through this pullback. Right, now moving on to US. Let's look at. Hi, Annie. Yeah, I'm recording this. Right. Let's just go through the ones I've pulled out. I think Uber is coming up on volume. It's had it wasn't that long ago. February last year, 18 months ago, this was $64, and now we're just sitting here at 24 on volume. So the volumes are picking up. The price is closing higher. If we hold this 24 today, I think 23 is buyable with a stop underneath these lows in Uber. The other ones I've got listed here are Airbnb. Got my ticker. ABNB. I just like I like good brands with good innovative products in commanding positions in the marketplace, and these guys were obviously first in on a major level, and therefore I think this stock is worth tracking. I think, again, this was up at 202, 212. It's halved. I think this is well worth, if you bid on, I'm going to bid on 104 with a stop underneath these lows on Airbnb, because I think this is viable. I need to do a bit more research on it. But overall, I think that is viable. The US chip stocks are doing well. This is a reversal to me. Nice head and shoulders pattern. So the neckline that was broken was 58. I think something like MEU is still viable at 58. Let's look at the old favorites. Palantir, yuck. The volume is increasing. It looks fragile, but what are the other ones? Let me look at Twilio. Wow, that is really not seeing any momentum. It's not seeing any significant push. Let me look at. I didn't look at any miners, did I? I'll look at some miners in a minute. Twitter. I think if you want to get involved with Twitter, I think 38.90 is the obvious place. Why's my throat so dry? Hang on. It might drop further back into 37, but I think with all the history and kerfuffle with Twitter, I think that is worth a punt. I think that's worth a go. QCOM. Well, that's had a decent move off 12 into 15. I would wait. I do like the stock. I would bid on 134 down there. See if you can get a pullback on that one. Zoom. Wow. I do like good cash generators, and Zoom is one of them. It's really not going anywhere though, is it? That's quite a pathetic move, really. It's like a massive head and shoulders. So it's just not a lot to get excited about, is there? So I'm just trying to find my pen here. So you've got a sort of a shoulder, head, and a shoulder. This is the neckline. Volumes are, again, okay, but mediocre. I would wait and see if this can close above 105. If it can close above 105, I'll enter on a pullback, stop underneath here, and see if we can break through this 120. Again, it's a good product. It's a good cash generator. And so it fits, it's a good tech stock. So it fits a lot of the criteria that I am interested in. Facebook. If we close here, I would definitely buy Facebook, particularly with that volume like that. Right, unless you want me to look at anything else, I'm going to just look at a couple of miners and then disappear. Let's look at your couple of Cecils. So this HIMX has moved right to that trend line, is pulling back. Again, yeah, we're suffering from weak volumes, like so many stocks. Seems to be a lot of profit taking into that move. Nvidia. There's some decent volume coming into this Nvidia. We've had a good, last 3-4 days, significant volume, so that bodes well for a higher move. Right, we'll look at a couple of miners, and now I'm off. UK, Pan-African, beginning to build. The metals are looking good. Commodities in general have picked up, so that is still viable at 1920. Hochschild, a decent reversal pattern here on the 28th. So if we come back into 74, that's worth risking. Of course, if we break those lows, then that's toast. But Hochschild is worth it. Griffin, trying to hold. Volumes are not impressive at all. Sylvania has had a lift. US stocks, HL, any pullbacks into 4 or 425, CDE, the silver miner. Sylvania's platinum, right? Thanks for that. CDE is holding up well. Volumes have increased. Well, if you see 290, I think that's viable. Not much more I can say about that one. What else I can look at? Yeah, I was going to look at the uranium, Cecil's uranium, CCJ. This has had a really good push into 25, 26. At the moment, that looks as if that can go and gap fill at 23.50. If we see 23.50, I think that is good. You're looking at MJ Gleason, okay. Housing stock, MJ Gleason. Why is that now? Significant, wow, significant volume. I'll say that about it. That is a decent move off of a key support line. So 535 is a buy with a stop under there to see if we can get back to 647. What's your target on? Oh, you're looking at it, you're not in it. Yeah, if you're able to buy sort of 5, well, to peel back into 5, then obviously great. Otherwise, if it starts closing high, you may need to buy higher. But there's decent volume on there. So at the moment, that looks sustainable. Right. Thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks for your time. Target would be 8. You're looking for £8, right? Okay. Yeah. That looks feasible. Obviously, I'm just very nervous about the housing market, medium to long term. I think UK and US are both in Europe, we're all in housing bubbles. And if I'm right about, I think we're going to go into recession next year. I think we're going to avoid a recession this year. I think we're going to go into recession next year, and housing is going to be hit as well. But in the meantime, this looks viable. Right. Thanks, guys. And I'll update you. If you're not in the Telegram room, then let me know. I think you're all in the Telegram room. I'll update you if I'm doing anything. Otherwise, have a good evening, have a good afternoon, and see you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.